They're off. Here we go.
Kia ora koutou, no mai, hoki mai, and welcome to the second of our Dirt Church Radio Summer Series special editions. I'm Matt Raymond. Technically, we're still on holiday. Andrew and Ali are having a grand old time. I've just popped into Dirt Church Radio Towers to feed the fish and answer some emails. But whilst we're doing that, thought we would bring you our most downloaded episode of 2025, and that is kicking it all the way back to July 2025 and episode 333, when we had a double header. Sam Harvey made his Dirt Church Radio three-peat, and he's since been on a bunch more times, and spoke to Andrew McDowall about literally running himself to a standstill as the assist in the world record-breaking 118-hour, 790-kilometre, let that sink in, knock at Dead Cow Gully. And then we bring you Andrew's conversation with Stephen Redfern. Now, Stephen's notable for several reasons, including his ongoing feud with Andrew, which is odd as they seem to be the best of friends, and his standing as an incredible endurance athlete. Andrew caught up with Stephen about his journey into the mind of one Lazarus Lake following his podium finish, which I understand is complicated somewhat, at the last annual Heart of the South road race, which is a 400-mile self-propelled adventure through 6 southern states of the USA. We'll see you back here next week on January the 14th for our first AidStation of the year, and we're super excited to do that. And hey, look, if you've been having some great runs over the summer, if you've been hitting mountain peaks or whatever it is, how about banging out a greatest run ever? Send it in to us, dirtchurchradio@gmail.com, and we will look forward to seeing you next week. But here we are, without any more of my babbling, Sam Harvey and Stephen Redfern.
I'm super stoked to have with me Sam Harvey. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good enough. I'm freaking tired.
Yeah, you just got back to New Zealand last night, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, this morning.
2 a.m. this morning.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and having a wee chat. I suppose most importantly, because we saw a pretty smashed Sam at the end of 118 hours. How you feeling? How's the body recovering?
Yeah, slowly but surely. I mean, like, I can weight beer and things are coming back online, but yeah, I'm sore and I'm tired as hell, and yeah, I had my Achilles injury like real early into the race, which as a result meant I was compensating for that injury. So like 90% of my problems in that race stem from the fact that I had a busted Achilles that I literally thought was going to end my race, like by the second or third day, and I just managed to hold through. But as a result, I was compensating, and you know what happens when you compensate for an injury, and just like your symmetry goes out, and all of a sudden, just random structures in different areas end up all jacked up, and that's exactly what happened for me. So yeah,
I've heard from a few of the runners that like Achilles injuries was a specific problem with this race. Did you pick it up during the race, or was it something you went into with?
I mean, like, I've had it in the past, but for me in particular, I think there was possibly a chance I missed a certain window of calf care, like just like working my calves out, and I think also maybe my shoe had been rubbing on the Achilles in a particular way, because when I finally noticed it, it wasn't like a full diameter injury, like across the entire circumference of the Achilles. It was more like an exterior, like it had been rubbing like on the outside for a particular period of time, and it had become inflamed that way. So yeah, I think I picked it up during the race, but I've definitely had it during those races, and yeah, there was plenty of runners that had Achilles and calf problems. I was treating a few people during the race to try and settle theirs down.
Yeah, and that's something that you've been known for a little bit, is not just doing your own thing, is actually looking out for others that are part of the race. Trying to get everyone, to get their PBs, or to find, or in the case of Jane McAlpine, perhaps a new New Zealand record for the ladies.
100%. Yeah, how I can.
You're her coach. You must be pretty stoked to see her pull that one off.
Yeah, I'm very, very stoked with Jane. She's a special girl, and we love her. And yeah, to see her her pull the record is amazing. But yeah, like she was pulled out by an Achilles as well, which is sad because I think she had more in her. And yeah, I mean, it came down to a mechanical, and when it comes down to a mechanical, you can't do much about that.
Well, I mean, she could do the old Duplantis thing where is he Swedish pole vaulter who just increases his record by a tiny little bit each time that he competes, so that he keeps breaking his own world record. She could do the same thing, just keep adding a lap each time she competes.
100%. That's the way I was looking at it with the 118. It's like I came there to do 150. It's like if I had done 150, then I wouldn't have been able to touch it again for a while. It's like do 118. I can maybe break that again later this year or sometime next year.
Well, that's pretty cool. So you haven't come out of this going, oh, bugger this, never again. You've come out of this quite positive.
100%. Yeah. No. Win or learn.
Obviously, you went there to win. Both of you have broken the world record. You've been beaten by, can I call him your nemesis, Phil Gore?
Yeah.
How does that feel, perhaps, on reflection, a few days later?
Yeah, I would have liked to have won. At the end of the day, like, he ran a flawless race, it seems, and I was dealing with problems. Had I not been dealing with problems, it might have been a totally different result. And rather than finishing up on Thursday morning, it might have gone the whole 150 and finished up on Friday sometime. So, yeah, just let all the stars align and see what happens, because I thought the stars had aligned. Like the weather was right, the course was right, the competitors were right, and then it's just like there's a couple of little minor issues that I had that unraveled the whole thing. But yeah, I've had other perfect races where no physical things have gone wrong. But yeah, maybe a mindset wasn't there, or maybe the weather was crap, or whatever. So yeah.
It definitely wasn't mindset, though. I mean, you could tell that you pushed way past where you were comfortable, right? I mean, you were hurting for a long time towards the end there, right?
Oh, 100%. And that's what I think is a major victory for me. It's like, yeah, Phil ran a perfect race and went really far, but it's like I ran a not perfect race and went really, really far. Like I was struggling with all sorts of things that I hadn't planned on going wrong right from early on in the race, and still took it further than any runner had ever taken it in the world previously. So I think that was awesome, because it showed my resilience and my ability to deal with problems and fix things and just to hang on by the skin of my teeth. Like there was there was at least a couple of loops, especially when we were on, like, I think it was the third night going into the fourth morning or something, or the fourth morning going into the fifth day. We were like pushing through towards the 100 mark, and I've never run like 56 or 57 minute loops, and there was a couple of times where like they were blowing the whistle and I was still coming in. That's a massive freak out moment, because you're like, damn, I have no time up my sleeve to rest, recuperate, top up my bottles, do anything. So
did your crew come out to the finish line for those ones when you're running tight? Do they come to you?
I was camped pretty close to the finish line anyway, so I'd go through, and I mean, you'd be surprised what you can do in like 1 or 2 minutes.
True.
You can fit a lot in there. It's just I typically like to have anywhere from like kind of 8 to 18 minutes up my sleeve to do all those jobs.
Yeah, and that was one thing that Phil was able to do, wasn't he? Because he was, I mean, I don't know exactly what he was averaging, but he was certainly coming in the sort of mid-40s, wasn't he? And 15 minutes. He
was down speedy.
Yeah. It gives you just so much more time to recover, right?
Oh, 100%.
He didn't seem to deteriorate really at all. You know, I saw he mentioned something about having a plan all the way up to 180 loops. Do you think some of that's kind of swagger? Do you think it's bragging, or do you think he was genuine about that?
I'm sure on paper there is a grid, because there's always a grid and a sheet and a checklist and a this and a that with Phil, and I'm sure it goes to 180. I'm sure if we had have got into the 150 realm, even he would have been rattled because, I mean, like when we broke 100 ourselves for the first time 2 years ago, like he was rattled in the lead up to that.
Right. Okay.
And
I mean, it's uncharted territory for everyone, isn't it? I mean,
100%.
you two guys have now run further than anyone else in this format. It wasn't that long ago. I actually think it might have been Camille Heron who said when the record was somewhere around the late 60s, I remember her saying, in a few years, I reckon we'll hit 100. And I was thinking, nah, that sounds dumb. I don't think we're hitting 100 anytime soon. And yet here we are. And, you're talking 150, and I would have said that sounded ridiculous not that long ago. That's only 30 hours away now. I mean, why not, right?
No, it's manageable. And I think if you have the right team, like I think we had the right team up until a particular point. And then, like, once it was down to me and Phil, it was more, I don't know, yeah, as you say, nemesis, rival. There's no fun going on at that point. Where, like, I remember when I ran my 101 for the first time, and Harvey Lewis was a big part of that. And, like, he's a fun guy. I have fun with him.
Yeah.
And so,
singing songs. Wasn't there some sing-alongs out on the course with Harvey?
I think it was more shouting into the darkness.
Oh, that's right. It was just shouting.
Lots of cussing. And yeah, so like we made the best out of a terrible situation where like there was no that with him. He does his thing, and I guess
you don't run together at all, do you? Out on the course, like
nah.
Nothing.
We did 2 years ago, and it was literally because I knew he was going to continue doing his thing, and there was the chance that my morale could have broken in those last few hours before the light, which happens with so many people, especially when they're like out of their comfort zone. And so I like put a message out saying he needs to run with me if he wants this world record, because there's a chance I could break, and if I break, nobody gets a world record. And so he was then forced to run a few hours in the dark with me. Not that we had any conversations or anything.
Really, just silence in the dark. Oh man.
Yeah, I think when they told him that, he was like, "What do we talk about?" And everyone's like, "I don't know, maybe running." Well. But yeah, so I knew there wasn't going to be any of that this time around, and I just had to suck it up and embrace the dark, and that's what I did. Because yeah, we ran that entire final night, just the two of us, and
it's a long time,
14 hours of just proper darkness in the middle of nowhere. Like, it is like overwhelming. It is so saturating. It's so dark and so long, and the night just feels like it's never going to end.
Do you find, are there little markers along the course that you can use to just tick off where you are? Or does it all kind of just blur into one?
No, 100%. I mean, like you run a course like that is enough.
118 times.
And you have all of your checkpoints, which are obviously very good for telling if you're on pace or not. Yep. Certain places that you enjoy and certain places that you don't enjoy, and
maybe something you and Phil could have talked about was you could have compared your parkrun times. What's yours? What's your parkrun PB, mate?
My parkrun PB is a 15:30.
Oh. Do we know what Phil's is?
I think it's probably
might not be that quick.
I think this is somewhere around 16.
There we go. All right. At least you got that. Because what was it? 3 days later, he goes and runs a 17:40.
Yeah, I don't know what's with that.
One, yeah.
Another little fishy to me, but I digress.
We won't go down that road. It's definitely an interesting rivalry. Even at the finish line, you're sitting down there, you offer him a chair. He doesn't really want to sit down. Remaining a bit aloof of the whole thing. I mean, maybe because I'm a Kiwi biased, I kind of looked at it and I thought, mate, just grab a chair and sit down next to the guy you've been battling with for 118 hours, But I mean, that's quite armchair of me. You know, I'm here at home. I'm not out there. I haven't done the battle, so it did seem a bit unusual. But otherwise, it is an extraordinary performance from Phil to look so fresh after all of that. I presume this is not a rivalry that's going to go away anytime soon.
If he keeps on turning up to backyard ultras that I'm at, then it's not going away anytime soon.
The obvious question is, you'll obviously you're into bigs if you wish. Is it too soon to ask if you're thinking about doing that this year?
Nah, full send, bro. I'm in on bigs.
Heck yeah, bro!
I finish things that I start, and I.
Oh, that's so exciting!
I make statements and I fulfill them. So yeah,
Woo.
bigs is mine.
Heck yeah! Oh, awesome, man! And Simon's also so Simon McLean, Auckland fella here, did 90 laps. He is on the at-large, so he can go if he wants to at this stage. Is that 100%.
Correct? I believe it's his plan to.
Man,
it's his plan to go to bigs, which would be cool for him. Makes me feel like less of New Zealand's special little boy anymore because I've always been the only one.
That's true. Yeah. You'll actually have to be like camp mother. You'll have to look after him. You know. Maybe some Achilles massages.
You might have to cut his teeth and learn the hard way because holy moly, the first time you're at bigs, it's a scary dog.
Oh yeah, is it the course is quite technical, the day course, isn't it?
The day course is the hardest course that I've ever done in a backyard ultra. It is gnarly beyond gnarly. It chews people up and spits them out. Like we had people falling and knocking their head on the rocks and being pulled out of the race on the first day.
Oh my goodness!
When I was there last, and then it's a shock to the senses. It's not a running festival. It's a last man standing race held on this grumpy old hillbilly's property, and he does not have the facilities to hold it. So you're pretty much you're all camped in his driveway, and there's 75 champions typically racing. So you've got 32 or 33 gazebos because there's only space for half a gazebo each. So you get half of a 3x3 each between you and whatever other random gets assigned to that gazebo.
Oh, it's assigned, is it?
Yep.
So it's totally random. Oh wow.
Yeah. You can do trading and stuff, and the Belgians, they usually trade very well, and because they typically have 5 or 6 or more of them at the race, they'll trade to the point where all of their gazebos are congregated to the point where they then like sacrifice one of their gazebos to be the kitchen tent, and they use it as a pizza kitchen, like,
oh man,
which is a massive advantage to those.
Yeah.
Whereas you have all these other little countries, and it's just like the person and their crew member, and they've got half a gazebo, and you're only allowed one crew person, which makes it hard on the runner. It makes it hard on the crew person because, like, if you're going deep, then that crew person has to be locked in for like over 100 hours potentially. You're all crammed in, as I say, and like all the porta potties are like right on top of the gazebos, and it's October in Tennessee, which is typically in the 30s, so it's nice and hot. Those porta potties are to the point of almost overflowing. They're cooking.
Oh.
You run your little part of the loop where you come through the tent site and you're dry reaching because you can smell that.
Man, does this mean though that like we're having another Kiwi, you might be able to work together and even use your 2 crew people to work together? That seems to be an advantage.
100%. I also think that.
I mean, everyone likes Simon, so I assume you got on well with Simon.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like I'm not a greenhorn anymore at this, and so.
Yeah, I think you probably could call yourself experienced.
Yeah, and as a result, like I've built relationships with all the other like high level athletes and stuff. It's not so much like dog eat dog anymore. It's like I will help you as much as I can without like impairing myself. So whilst you might not be countrymen with someone else, like there's definitely alliances and people helping each other out and such. So yeah, I don't feel so much on my own anymore, and like the likes of Harvey, like I've now raced with him 3 times. I've got like a really good relationship with him, and then like a number of the other nations champions. So yeah, I won't.
Harvey's such an inspiring athlete, isn't he? I mean,
Harvey is a walking ray of sunshine.
It's beautiful.
He's the closest thing to an alien I think I've ever encountered. And he makes you feel terrible about your existence because he's just so genuinely good that you're like, man, I'm a shit person.
The comparison is the thief of joy in this case because he's so damn good. And he'd just come from Africa, hadn't he?
Yeah.
He'd just done a week of being awesome in Africa to people and then flown straight to Dead Cow.
Yeah, I can't remember where he'd been before that. He'd been doing some crazy stuff, and then he went to Africa and did Chile and some other random stuff, and then he came to Dead Cow and he's doing did Dead Cow last week, and then this weekend he's got Badwater.
Oh, wow, that's this weekend.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man, that's a bucket list one for sure. That does kind of lead me to ask, like, obviously with Biggs, that probably is now your main focus, but you know, you're qualified for UTMB, that's right, eh? Because you won Tarawera, or you probably got enough ITRA points anyway to walk into UTMB.
I've got an entry off my second place at Tarawera last year. I've got an entry from my first place at Cozzy last year. I've got an entry from my first place at Tarawera.
It'd be nice if you could hand them out, eh? That'd be lovely.
Start flogging them off.
Yeah, you sell them. So I guess you've got the knowledge that at any point that you want to tackle that, you can probably just enter.
Yeah, no, I fly out for Sham in 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. So this is my ignorance. I didn't know you were running UTMB. You are?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that memo.
Yeah, no.
Awesome. Oh, yay.
I would have liked to have been a little bit more trained for UTMB because my original plan at the start of the year was I was going to do Dead Cow, UTMB, then Biggs, but I was just going to train all of this year for UTMB and then rock up to Dead Cow was kind of like a little side quest. And like with all this amazing training for UTMB, I would just like absolutely slay Dead Cow. But then I tore all my bits off my bones in February, and I've spent months and months rehabbing. And as a result, like my training has been pretty negligible the last 4 months. So I haven't been able to train specifically for UTMB. I've just kind of been able to like get back into training has been the sum of it. So there hasn't been any mountain work, there hasn't been any pole work, there hasn't been much along those lines. So not the best.
That was a big injury. Can you just quickly describe what it was?
Yeah, so I tore both of the adductors and my rectus abdominis, which is my six pack, off the bone. So both of the adductors and the rectus abdominis insert at the pubic bone, and I tore them off during Tarawera.
During the race?
Yeah, so the last like 40 kilometers of the race I was running with those not attached, which felt really horrendous.
That wasn't that long ago. How on earth are you doing what you're doing now? Does the body really heal that fast?
I've behaved myself really well. So like I didn't race Fault Line and I didn't race UTA, even though I really wanted to, and I just pulled back. I pulled back on training, like didn't run for like the first month after confirming what my injury was, and then I just jumped like into some pretty good rehab, just like heaps of rehab, and then also like maintaining my first calorie surplus in like 5 years. Like does amazing things for the body, and just healed up, and then I think it was like 2.5 weeks before I went away to Dead Cow. I went into my physio, Caden, and he like did some tests and stuff, and he's like, yeah, you're back to full strength on both sides. Like you're probably stronger now than you were before.
Right. So is this the old what doesn't kill you makes you stronger sort of situation?
To a degree. I mean, like I still have and had pain in like the pubic bone area, which like made me nervous throughout the race. Like I was throwing.
I bet it did.
You know how you don't throw like Bernie creams next to your tender bit.
You do not.
My tender bits were getting all sorts of Bernie creams on them, and I was just like, oh well, it's not going to kill you.
Yeah, that's a mistake you only make once, eh?
No, I made it once an hour for a lot of that race. But yeah, kept it under control. My biggest fear was that was just going to eventually spontaneously combust and it'll pull off, because it's obviously not at 100, but it all held together throughout the race, which was really cool.
Yeah, that wasn't what stopped you in the end.
No,
Was it? No.
not at all.
Yeah.
We were totally fine in that area, which is really cool.
Can you put a finger on something and say, this is why I had to stop? Or is it just a conglomeration of general body deterioration over the course of, superhuman efforts?
I could have willed myself to go longer.
Uh-huh.
I just didn't want it enough. That's what it comes down to. If I had have wanted it a little bit more, then yeah, I could have pushed myself on to sunrise, which would have happened in another 2 hours. That would have given me a second wind. I could have then potentially just shuffled along throughout the day for another day. So yeah, I could have.
Is that Sam a few days later saying that? Because I watched that last lap live as you started, and I watched you leave the start line, and I was like, nah, he's gone. He's buggered. His body's rooted. The guy can't move.
Like, my body was rooted, but my body being rooted only took over because I mentally willed that it was done. I had been dealing with the mental situation for hours. It's like, I don't want this anymore. Like, I'm done. I'm not having fun. The guy that I'm running with, I don't enjoy his company. Like I don't want to be running enough to continue going. And eventually that outweighed the desire to continuously will myself to keep going. I had the world record at that point. I wasn't going to get to keep the world record, which is funny because it's the second time that I've had a world record and only got to keep it for an hour. But
it's a brutal way of looking at it.
Yeah, I have friends that they complain that they only get to keep their world record for 6 weeks or 7 weeks. I was like, bro, I can trump that.
Yeah, I do understand what you're saying. I definitely know that feeling when your mind checks out. Suddenly, your body goes, "Okay, well then I'm going to shut down." Mm-hmm. But the body is waiting for that cue, isn't it, from the mind?
100%.
And you can shut it out as long as you like until you get to that moment where you're like, "Oh, I've had enough," and then suddenly everything is wrecked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when I stopped and I laid down, I stopped, and I've had that situation before where I'm like, stop, bend over, hold your knees, take a few breaths, recalibrate, and you're like, well, you stopped, but you didn't fall over, so keep going. Right. And I've rallied after that, and I've won races after pretty much being on death's door and about to pull in that situation, and then I just override it and I hammer home.
Yep. So you weren't actually considering the race over until you were probably still thinking, I can do this till the very last second.
Yeah.
I
think I knew it was kind of over because he was going so good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is getting a bit airy-fairy, but I had so many things go wrong that typically end a race and aren't fixable, and they fix themselves. And I was like, surely I've got some kind of divine intervention going on right now. This is weird. Especially with the Achilles. I've seen what the Achilles rupture or bursitis getting to its worst state does. It does not go away by itself. And there was probably 2 days there where that went away.
And it's fine now?
It's
fine being relative.
It's a crunchy mess now, but I did manage to settle it down for a couple of days after it was toasted. And there's a couple of other random things that just were potentially race ending, and they went away. And I was like, damn, who is looking out for me right now?
Yeah,
this is crazy. And then it got to the point I was like, somebody wants me to win this race. Cool. I'm just going to keep pushing. And in those last few hours before the sunrise on the last night, I was like, surely this guy's going to get, he's going so good. Surely he's going to get hit by lightning right now. I was convinced he's either going to get hit by lightning or a dingo's going to grab him and drag him off. It didn't end up happening, so I should have kept pushing until it did. But yeah,
You never
weird.
know.
There was so many weird things going on in that race that was just.
Of course, some of that may be sleep deprived. Your mind will be doing all sorts of playing all sorts of tricks on you.
100%.
Yeah. How much sleep do you reckon you got?
The first couple of nights, heaps. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The first night itself, minimal to none, and that's just because I was quite wired. The nutrition, there's a couple of things I took nutrition wise that like jacked me up a little bit, and as a result, I didn't sleep, and that was totally fine because I don't bank on sleeping on the Saturday or the Saturday night. Typically, I'll sleep on the Sunday day or the Sunday night, and I did in fact sleep a few times on the Sunday day because I was tired by that point, and then I slept in the Sunday night, so I was pretty happy. Like going into the Monday morning, I think I remember feeling like pretty energized and not having to worry about sleep.
God, it's amazing, isn't it? It was one of the things that I mentioned on last week's episode, just talking about, and it'd be really interesting to see what you think, because you're right at that pointy end of this field. Does the backyard format face an issue now where people are going for so long that if you are going to, especially the big events, and you want to win or at least be competitive now, you've got to allocate so many days to do this, to get to that, top level. Is it, and now easy is the wrong word, there's nothing easy about this, but is it becoming too, are the good guys getting so good at it now that it's getting too long? Or do you think we're simply just exploring and this is great and we're on a voyage together?
100% it's getting too long.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very hard to allocate time within your life to doing one of these, because not only are you allocating time within your own life to do it, like you need crew.
Yes.
So you're taking from your family, your friends, your loved ones, your spouse, your whatever.
Your mum.
And my mum.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's to give a week or 10 days to one event, it's a lot. And it's expensive. Like, what am I paying for? Like 4 return airfares.
Yeah.
From Christchurch to Australia, paying for the rental of a camper van for the week, food, like all the meals, all the groceries and stuff to cover that. Like luckily I've got some sponsorship by different outfits to cover some of my nutritional requirements. But yeah, at the end of the day, like that's easily a $10,000 race out of my pocket.
Yeah. That's serious, eh? And time. I mean, money and time, two precious things. Is there a solution to this? Not really, is there? Because if you tinker with it, it loses its charm, yeah?
I just think you only have your very best in the world guys competing every so often. And
right.
Yeah, they're only going to compete every so often, and you're going to probably start to observe a bit of a turnover within the top in the sport. Like there's guys that will just lose their love for it. They might go and do other stuff, and as a result, new guys come in, and yeah, you can.
So if you have a PB of over 40 laps, you can't participate in local events or something. Like if you're too good, see it just raises more questions or raises more issues.
No,
it?
I just what I think you'll see is like the guys who have run 100 and whatever loops, like they only want to do that every so often. So you're not going to see them entering as many races. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it will be interesting to see where it goes. One question Matt wanted to know: what is the bracelet you gave to Phil at the end? Was it a bracelet?
Yeah. I made some like little charm bracelets prior to the race. One I actually made before Bigs a couple of years ago, and it's just like little letters. It says "Voices be gone."
Ah, nice.
And I actually used that one quite a lot in this last race when I was having negative things creep in. I've got another one that says "150."
Hold on to that one.
WUNFIDDY 150. but the one that I gave Phil was win the.
When
And I said it seems more appropriate that you have this than I do. So
gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, maybe he'll have to give it back to you one day when you beat him. Forget the Bledisloe Cup. We've got the ultimate Trans-Tasman rivalry going on here.
Really what?
Sam, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know you're on big recovery mode. I'm glad to see you smiling. You're looking fresh, and hopefully moving well soon. All right, mate. Take care.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, Sam. Always a pleasure to talk with you. And now, on to Stephen. Well, g'day, Shaggy, or as some people may know you as Stephen. Do more people know you as Stephen or Shaggy?
I think it's about 50-50 these days. So
anyway, the rather talented Stephen Redfern joins me for a brief chat about his little adventure that he just had over in the big country, or a big open country, shall we say, of the United States. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me on the Dirt Church Radio this morning.
You've been back a few days now. How are you feeling?
Feeling great. Back into running, back at home, and very itchy feet, and keen to be looking for a new adventure now.
So straight back into running. So clearly you didn't go hard enough. Tell us about, hang on, let me try and get this right. The last annual Heart of the South. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
I believe it's been called the last annual Heart of the South, or last annual for a number of years now. Is that also correct?
Yeah, so Laz puts on the race. He has two. He has one called Volstate, which is Lavs. So that's the last annual Volstate. And then
I see.
And he has this.
What does that mean? What does Volstate mean?
Volstate, that's Tennessee. So Tennessee is the Volstate, so volunteer state.
Volunteer. Oh, okay.
So that one's always been noted as being the last annual Volstate race, which is the same course every year, but every year is the last year. So I actually don't know the reasons behind the last annual. I'm sure there is a reason there. But with these newer race HOTS or Heart of the South, everyone's just calls that the same as the last annual Heart of the South. So that one's been going for 6 years now. So that's a little bit newer than his other one. But big difference for HOTS is where the last annual Volstate is a known course and you know where you're going to run from start to finish. The Heart of the South course is a course that's kept secret for the complete year that you have entered the race. And they only release the course after you've been put on the bus and driven from the finish line to the start line. When you finally get to the start line that evening, they release the course as to how you run back to the finish line the next day. So you get approximately 12 hours to study the course before you start running it.
So you drive your car to the finish line.
Correct.
And then just blindingly, trustingly get on a bus with some guy in a plaid shirt and a beard and smoking a cigarette, and he says, "Come with me, fellas." And how long's the bus ride? Like the whole day?
So for this one, they try and drive you as direct as possible to the start line. So one, they don't run the course, so you don't get an idea of where you're going to go. So this year, the bus trip was 7.5 hours to go from finish line to the start line. And that was pretty much straight down the highway.
And so what's the vibe like on this bus ride? Like, is everyone kind of nervous, or is it like we're doing sing-alongs for 7.5 hours?
Oh, a little bit of both. Bit of sing-alongs. Everyone's looking out the window as we're driving, trying to get a bit of a guess as to where we may end up. So when we leave the finish line, depending on whether the bus turns left or right, you know straight away whether you're going to be having a northern start or a southern start.
Right.
And then from there, the next intersection, whether it turns left or right, you know whether you're going to have a northeastern start or a northwestern start, and you sort of start breaking it down from there.
And you must leave the state 7.5 hours? You're still in Tennessee? No.
No. So where the finish line is, which is in Georgia. You finish in Georgia? Okay. So right on the corner, it's at a place called Castle Rock, which is the same place Laz has finished all his last annual races, the Volstate or HOTS. They all finish in the same place. So that's in Georgia. You come out of Georgia and you drive straight into Alabama, and it's only a short time, but then through Alabama you head into Tennessee. So from there we drove through Tennessee. We drove out of Tennessee into Kentucky, drove out of Kentucky into Illinois. So we're starting to head a fair way northwest, and everyone's getting a rough idea that we would probably end up somewhere on the Mississippi River, where the start would be near there. And as it is, we did cross the Mississippi River into a town called Cape Girardeau in Missouri. And finally they turned around and said, okay, we're splitting the bus and we're going to our hotel. So we all knew that that was going to be our start place, was in Missouri.
Right. 6 states away from where you left your car.
6 states away, yes. And when you sat there and then just thought back, you think, Christ, that is going to be a long trip back.
Yeah, it's funny when you do races like this where you drive, sometimes you have to drive part of the course, and you're thinking in a car, you're thinking, gosh, this is taking quite a long time. I have to run all the way back this way, you know, and or when you see a sign, if you're doing a 100-mile race and you'll see a sign that says something's 160 kilometres away and it takes you forever to get there, and you think, that's how far I'm running tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, man. But in your case, you've gone across 6 states and you're thinking the whole time, I have to run back this way, but not exactly that way, right? You're not on that road at all.
No. So that was just the direct route there. So we knew once we got given the actual course, it'd be a bit more indirect on the trip back. And you're so far away, you don't even see a sign to tell you how far you've gone, because no sign will be direct back to where you've come from.
It's best not to think about it, to be honest.
You can't. You absolutely can't, because it's like you're thinking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days away as to getting back to the finish line.
Okay, so you get off the bus, you stay the night, and you get up the next day. Everybody just, you know, what does he blow a whistle? Does he light a cigarette? Is it like Barkley?
He likes a cigarette. So,
of course he does.
A little bit unusual for this year is for the first year, Laz had 2 distances for the Heart of the South. So the course he put together, which he knows for a year, was he was so excited about it that it ended up being 400 miles long. So it was his longest course that he's put together. Now he's realised that not everyone can actually achieve the full 400 miles within the 10 and a half days, because some of the people that at the back will actually do the journey as a walker, and he realises that.
So it's not the distance that's the challenge, it's getting it done in that time.
Within that time. And it'll always be 10 and a half days. And he understands that 40 miles a day can be almost unachievable for some. So what he did for this year is a bit of a difference, is he had 2 starting distances, the full 400 miles or the slightly shorter 343 miles, which he felt brought it back to within the realms of what the walkers could achieve per day to finish within 10 and a half days.
It's barely worth getting out of bed for, mate.
So, that's exactly right. So the way it started, a little bit different. We all get on the bus and we all drive to the start line, which was right on the Mississippi River in Missouri, and where you just run up and cross over the bridge, and then you're straight away in Illinois. Now, he left it for self-handicapped, that you chose which distance you want.
So when did you get to choose that? Once you realised how far it was?
That morning, when you choose to get on or off the bus. So as it was.
By the way, in rest of the world units, the difference is 552 kilometres or 643. Yes. Roughly speaking. So you're choosing to do 90 kilometres less.
Less, that's right. So as it was, 2 buses turned up, because it's basically there was 108 runners that had entered, and quite interestingly, half of each bus got off. So it was actually 50-50.
Wow.
50% chose the 400 and 50% still chose to stay on the bus, to be bussed to the start line on the shorter option.
Okay.
Which was quite interesting to see.
I wonder if Les, I wonder if he had a prediction beforehand. I wonder if it matched what he thought.
He did. He just put a post out today with his brief over the whole race, and he was actually quite impressed with the self-seeding of everybody, and he felt that was roughly what he was expecting for what he had put forward. So that was quite interesting.
I mean, these are all veteran ultramarathoners, aren't they? I mean, they.
Some are, some aren't. No, some are.
Oh, really? There's rookies in the field?
There's rookies. There's a couple that have mentioned that they've only run 50 miles and then they've gone and decided to enter this.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Yeah. So our start at 400, quite interestingly.
Yeah, obviously you chose the 400. I didn't even bother asking.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Obviously.
There was only one distance, so...
you were probably asking if there was a 500, but anyway, go on.
Well, that's for next year. That's what I'm asking. So quite interestingly, when we start the 400, we actually start at what he calls on the map route as minus 55. So for our first 55 miles, they actually don't exist. So we're just minusing down to 0. And then our race distance actually starts when we actually reach where the shorter distance runners started. And then we start to accumulate the mileage from that point onwards. Reason why?
It's a bit like the Western States metaphor where the race starts at Forest Hill, right?
Yes, that's it. Anything before that doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really count.
No.
Yeah, sorry. Since it's Western States week, I'm throwing that metaphor in. Go on.
So basically, Laz doesn't distinguish between the two races. So one race, one result, one winner, and he doesn't care whether it's a 343 runner or a 400 runner. So reasons why we start at minus 55, and then once we reach 0, everyone's distance ends up becoming exactly the same. So we all finish with 345 miles on record as a result.
That's another classic Laz sort of move. But that could be part of the psychological thing, because are you standing on that start line? How much of you is thinking, I'm going to race this, versus how much of you is thinking, off we go on an adventure and let's just see what happens?
So look, you're right, a bit of both ways. So I think he's done this on the idea that that gives all the 400-mile runners an opportunity to try and sort of aim to reach and catch up to all the 343 runners. And then it becomes one sort of race journey. But then on the flip side, you're basically starting it, you don't even look ahead to what's in front of you, and you're just running each day as it comes. It's the only way you can really achieve a self-supporting run of 400 miles is you can only look at where you are at that present time and where your next place that you can get services and stuff, and you're just running from that point to the next point to the next.
Yep.
But with a bit of incentive this year that you actually have 60 runners in front of you, which you would not normally have, that you have an opportunity to sort of catch and pass and actually say hello to, especially if you're up towards the front of the field. You would never see that. So where I ran labs last year, and I pretty much ran 3/4 of that on my own, and didn't see another runner to the finish. For this,
and there's not a lot else out there, right? I mean, these are pretty quiet roads, right, you're on?
Some of them are, but others are actually interstate highways that you actually running down as well. So you run down the full highways, some back roads, through the cities, through little towns.
Oh.
So
you're allowed to do that over there, are you?
As I inquired, as I was told over there, Laz's idea is just put it on and ask for forgiveness later if someone happens to question it.
Okay.
A little bit different to our regulations out here when putting on a road race. But the amazing thing is everyone's actually really, really good over there. So it's they're all courtesy. None of the drivers really tend to have too much of a problem. They respect that you're out there running on the roads. And
okay.
I actually feel fairly safe no matter where I was running across the whole of those states.
You would enjoyed reading your posts as you went along. It looks like you would travel through the night and rest in the sort of hotter parts of the day if you could. Obviously, you've got to play it by ear as to when you come across places to stop. But was there much of a daily plan for you? And if so, how did it work out?
I didn't distinguish between night or day. I actually didn't really stop during the day. So I just did my run straight through and just basically stopped for a sleep. It ended up being generally in the night.
Okay.
I probably only averaged about 1 hour sleep a night over the whole distance. So my total came in at 6.5 hours sleep for the 6.5 days that I was running. But my last sleep was on night 5. And then for the last 36 hours, I didn't bother stopping. I just kept going to the finish line. So
totally normal. totally normal.
Well, isn't that what most normal people do?
Oh, yeah. Anyone listening to this doing anything else from that, you're the weird ones, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so you actually were on foot for a vast majority of it. I mean, I saw photos of you in a laundromat, and one of the other fellow Dirt Church podcasters, Ellie, asked the perhaps obvious question is, what are you wearing while you're washing your clothes?
So I happened to have, because I went with 2 underwear, so I still had one clean pair at that point, halfway in the race. So it was basically, and my underwear looked like just a pair of tights. So I could get away with putting them on my rain jacket for the top.
Maybe to you it did, but...
Well,
sure.
the nice thing was I had that laundromat because they're 24 hours over there. That was 5 o'clock in the morning. So it was a bit quiet. So
not a lot of people around.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just sat in the back corner, raincoat on, underwear on,
undies.
and everything else being washed. So that was 1 hour. That was a 1 hour break for me at 5 in the morning at the end of day 3. So
okay.
Yeah,
pairs of shoes. You wore the same pair of shoes the whole race, yeah?
same pair of shoes. You got no opportunity to change them, or unless
you carry them, right? You'd have to carry a spare pair in your pack.
You'd have to carry it because you can't pick anything up along the way.
And you're starting this race with nearly nothing, right? I mean, you got 2 bottles and a couple of snacks. Is that what you got?
The snacks are just whatever I just picked up for the start. But basically,
and a spare pair of undies.
And a spare pair of undies, yep. 2 and a spare pair of socks as well.
Oh, fancy.
So, but total, my pack weighed 2 kilos outside of fluids. So that was just the gear that I felt I needed from start to finish. As I probably realised looking back and what I used and how I used it, I would probably actually be able to reduce that down to about 1.5 kilos to do it again. So there's a few things I wouldn't need for the next time that I can get away with.
If you suddenly, how long could you go if suddenly there were no shops, right? You've stocked up halfway through the race and then there happens to be a massive stretch. This is a hypothetical. How long would you go until you got into trouble with carrying this minimal gear?
So we actually did have that. So one thing with HOTS is it's a little bit more out of the way than what Volstate is. So you've got to be more prepared to have longer stints of what he calls desert areas. So where I kept thinking these desert areas were like running through deserts, over there, their idea of the word desert is running through an area with no services. So there's nowhere to pick up water or food or anything.
Sure.
We had on night 1, because of where the 400 runners were coming in, we had a whole area of 40 miles, which was 60 Ks through night 1, where we had no services. So we had to have carry enough or pick up enough at the previous town to then go for the next 60 Ks overnight without...
You knew this though, right? Did you know this? Like you were told?
No. This is just through our research when we got the course the night before.
Okay.
So
you've got to pore over those maps. You've got to be really careful.
Yeah. But it's actually not even a map. It's just a GPX file. You throw it on your own mapping app on the phone.
And of course you haven't got a laptop because you're not going to be running with that.
No.
So everything's just phone or watch.
Phone or watch. And then with the phone, you're zooming into just little areas and then trying to scroll through as you go. Now, we had probably 3 to 4 lots over the whole course where we would easily be running 30, 35 to 40 miles without services, depending on when we reached those places. Now, I had it 3 times only because I was getting to them at night time, and I knew that I would have to go, say, 40 miles for the first night. On my last night, the 6th night, I had a 35-mile stint between having one lot of fluids and food before I could pick up the next lot of fluid and food.
So that's a hell of a long way on with 2 bottles of water, right?
So
how you working that?
You pick up more. So both times I was carrying 5 bottles. So it was...
Okay, so you had empty bottles in your pack that you would fill up if you knew it was a longer stint.
You just buy bottles. So in the end...
Oh, I see.
So I had my 2 soft flasks, which happened to be the first... One of the soft flasks actually sprung a leak on day 1, so I had to chuck it away. So what I did find was really good was the soft flask worked really well by fitting into my T8 short pocket. So that was one I could put down there. And then the 2 pockets of the vest would have a bottle each. And then twice I would get 2 more bottles and put them in the back of the pack, which made up 5 bottles of fluids, which is still not quite enough, but it was enough for me to sit on and get through 60 Ks with those 5 bottles. But that was really rationing out.
Going to say that's got to be about the limit, eh? Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
I find that I would actually run a fair bit of the first lot not using my fluids, and then once I got to the realms of knowing what I had left with my fluids, it was a lot easier to then know how to actually ration and drink them. So in the second half.
Got any cool local stories of people you met along the way or things you saw?
Yeah. So the best one, going through Kentucky, coming into Tennessee, you come through a town called Clarksville. So just as you cross the border, it's basically where the Fort Campbell Army base is. Now, this town goes on forever. It probably went for about 20 miles. It's like this long alley of a town.
Right.
And so you started with it, and I got to this in the evening. So basically that was most of my evening was running along this whole stretch. Fort Campbell on one side of the road and pretty much Clarksville and all its services on the left side of the road. But along through there, it's everyone called it. We called it the Tactical Tattoos and Vapes Alley. So we must have gone through for the whole 20-mile stint. We reckon we must have passed about 3,500 gun shops, tattoo shops, and vapes. Literally, you would have all 3 in a row, only to find that the next set of 3 shops were exactly the same, and then the next set of 3 shops were the same, and then the same, and then the same, and then the same, and it just kept going, and we couldn't believe how many guns can one person buy in one stretch.
Just one person. Don't ask that question over there, mate. You won't like the answer.
So, and then at the end of all 3 shops, you'd always come across a pawn shop. So we felt that everyone would buy the guns, get a tattoo, pick up some vapes.
P-A-W-N?
P-A-W-N, yep. And
yes,
then,
gotcha.
And by the time they get through those 3 shops, they realise they got too many. Then they pawn them all off just to go back and rebuy them all over again.
And the cycle continues.
And the cycle continued. So that was, yeah. So,
no shopping for you though? You were travelling light.
There's only so many.
AR-15s for you, mate.
There's only so many guns you can fit into your little running pack. So, but a couple of other nice things was we had to cross a ferry on the Ohio River to go from Illinois into Kentucky. Cool. So we had to. It was not too bad for us, who the people I was running with, because we got there late afternoon. But that ferry stopped at 9:40 at night. So there were a couple of people that missed the last ferry.
Oh, man.
And had to sit and wait for the 6 a.m. ferry the next morning. So
that's good. That'll be giving you Hong Kong flashbacks from the 4 Ultras.
Most definitely so. I was lucky we got there at 4:30 in the afternoon, so we had no...
Did you know that it was, you had to get there by 9:30?
We did, yeah. So a little bit of the brief the night before, Laz did mention that. So just to let everyone know that be very mindful of when you reach this point.
Oh, that's so punishing, because that'll be people just sitting at a ferry building, right? Like literally just lying there waiting for hours.
They're just on the park bench out the front. No real... Oh, man. So, or a little shelter.
No building.
No,
right.
No. So it's a very basic ferry. So, but that was interesting. That took you straight into Amish country in Kentucky. So, so you cross the river straight away, and then there's Amish men in their horts and carts trotting down the highway out of nowhere. So that
must have been surreal, because we only see that stuff in movies, don't we? And you think to yourself, is this real? Yeah, but it is.
It is real. It was very surreal. The next thing was when we finally got to kilometre or mile 0, which is where the shorter runners started. It's actually at Tunnel Hill. So you've got the famous Tunnel Hill Ultra over in America.
Oh, right. I was like, why do I know that name? Yeah, that's a flat 100 mile. Is that right? Or fairly flat? Very flat.
It's on a rail trail out and back. Now, part of that is you get to run through the actual Tunnel Hill Tunnel, which is we had the chance to actually run through the Tunnel Hill Tunnel.
Yeah, that's cool.
So only short, but yeah. So you have about you have about 2 miles along the rail trail through the tunnel. You come out of the tunnel and then you loop back on the road, which then runs back over the top of the tunnel, and then you start at mile 0. So that was another little interesting thing to come through.
All right. In the interest of time, because obviously we could talk about this for hours and hours, let's fast forward to sort of the last. You say you went for 36 hours pretty much straight at the end.
Yes.
Was that because you were chasing someone down, or were you just keen to get it over with? Like, sounds like quite a push at the end there.
So a couple. So I had a good 2.5 hours sleep on night 5, and that was just due to I got into that town quite late.
Lazy. Oh.
Well, I got in it was all right. I know some of us are a bit lazy. Just think how I could have finished if I didn't stop.
Soft. Yeah.
I got into Lewisburg at 11:30 at night, and I knew that I would have to have probably gone through a almost 50-mile section without any services, which it was impossible. So having a 2.5 hours sleep there meant I could leave Lewisburg at 4 a.m, which meant I could get to the next town 15 miles away when that opened up, which then only made a
It's good planning.
25-mile stint after that without services. So, but when I woke up from the 2.5 hours sleep, it was. I felt so refreshed. I actually didn't feel the need. It was almost like starting all over again. So, and then by the time I got to that next night, I could smell the finish line, which was only
So you just want to put your hammer down. Do you know where anyone else is at this point?
So I had I'd been running for about 5 days on my own. So I hadn't seen another runner for like 4 days. So
wow.
But when I got to there was actually 2 runners that had been in front of me the whole time, which as it was when we checked in that next morning, I ended up being 7 miles in front of one of them. He must have slept longer in town than I did.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And then the other runner, who those two had been running together, was only 3 miles in front of me. And I thought, oh, okay. It's I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, that's motivating.
And we're still probably at least 60 miles from the finish. So there's still a fair bit to go. So during that day, the runner who was behind me didn't like the idea that I'd actually passed him. So he had this motivation that he'd made up that 7 miles by lunchtime, had run past me by lunchtime.
Oh, wow.
And by the time we checked in that evening, he was another 14 miles in front of me. So that was 21 miles he made up on me in a 12-hour stint.
Something to be said for having a longer sleep.
Yeah, and he's half my age. He's 26 years of age.
Oh, these kids.
The other guy, surprisingly, at the end of the 12 hours when we checked in again that evening, still was 3 miles in front of me. So we had sat on the exact same pace.
That's annoying.
All day.
Right.
Off we go into the evening, and I thought nothing more about it. I'm happy where I'm sitting. The next stint was 35 miles long when we checked in.
When you say check in, how do you do that? Are you sending a text?
Yeah, a text.
Like, how do you...
Twice a day, 7:30 in the morning and 7:30 in the evening. You send a text. You look at the mile marker on the course app, and you just tell them where you are, and then it's an honesty system. I'm
still alive. Yeah, okay.
Yep, still alive. Honesty. Everyone just puts in the right kilometre or the right miles.
Yeah, sure.
And then that goes up on the live feed. So the next morning, I had what I thought was a really long, slow light up in the mountains in the dark. Didn't see another car. No one else around. It was just me, and I come out the next morning thinking that was a very long night. Checked in the morning, and I'd done better than what I expected. So I'd ran 35 miles during the night. And lo and behold, the 2 people that were in front of me, the one that was 14 miles in front was now only 2 miles in front.
Ooh.
And the one that was 3 miles, had been 3 miles in front of me for 2 days, was now 2 miles in front. Both of them were running together.
I love how you've made 1 mile up in 24 hours. That's brutal.
And 12 on the other guy. So,
yeah.
So when I got into we had one last official checkpoint where we pick up a tracker to do the last 15-mile run to the finish, so they can see where you are, so they make sure that they can be at the finish line before you get there.
Right.
It's called a town called Kimball, which is basically where everyone finishes at the hotel once they finish the race. So when I got there, I realised that the two people that were in front of me actually were resting up in town. So they felt that after that last night, they needed a rest before the last 15-mile push.
Okay.
And had messaged me to say, oh, we're just in the hotel in the room next door to you. Come and join me and we can all leave when we're ready. And I went, nah.
Oh, no.
Nah.
Nice try, guys.
I don't like that idea. I'm not going to be played into that little game. So
You're not a team player, eh, Stephen?
I'm
Okay.
not. I'm a very much an individual. And anyway, it's a new day. I felt really good. So I grabbed the
Sure.
tracker and I'd left 2 minutes later and went straight to the finish line. And as it was, I made up basically 2 spots to end up finishing third overall between the 343 and the 400-mile runners.
So when you say these two people, there were 2 others even further ahead that you never had anything to do with?
No, so there was...
Gotcha. Okay.
So there was one 400-mile runner and one 343-mile runner who were always at least a half a day ahead of me the whole time.
So why would that, I mean, if you're going to run 343 miles, you may as well run 400, right? Why would that person who did the 343 choose to do that, knowing they clearly had the leg speed to do the full thing?
Just felt that was in the realms of what they wanted to do. And because Laz doesn't distinguish between the two.
Yeah, I see. They get the second place finish. It's a bit weird.
But as Laz had said in his final write-up report, he was really happy to see that no one had abused the idea of doing the 343 shorter section, but romping that away to finish well and ahead of everybody else. So this 343 runner wasn't like half a day ahead of everyone else and used that to get first place. Both when you look at the 400 and the 343 runner who'd run the last 4 days together, they're basically running at the same pace. So it was just what they both felt was in the realms of their reality. And Laz, and then Laz, and that's why we all finished with the same 343-mile completion distance, is he doesn't distinguish between the two in the end. So they got 1 and 2, and I then was officially third place finisher, but unofficially I'm the second place 400-mile finisher.
All right, so perhaps most importantly is afterwards you go back to the hotel, everyone's hanging around. Did the 2 people that you didn't wait for and went on and just left them hanging, did they not invite you to their party?
They did afterwards. As it was, I had to wait at the finish line for them to finish 3 hours after me. So
3 hours?
because Laz and Carl actually drive you off the finish line because it's actually at a point that's off-road on this beautiful
yes, it was
escarpment.
a trail finish, wasn't it?
And this year, slightly different. They decided to throw in a Barkley-inspired 2-mile trail finish with a climb through a crack in the cliff to get on top of the cliff, just to make it interesting. So because they didn't have enough time to drive me back down to the finish line or back down to the hotel, so I had to wait for the other 2 to finish, who happened to finish about 3 hours behind me at the end of the day.
So you could argue that your selfishness backfired horribly because instead of waiting at a hotel, hanging out, maybe, having a beer or something and then finishing, you've ended up waiting at the finish line, exposed out in the elements, waiting for these guys anyway, right?
No, it was perfect because I actually got to have 3 hours just chatting all things anything with Laz and Carl. So even better.
Let me have a dig at you. Don't turn around.
Are you telling me you wouldn't want 3 hours to share your time with Laz up in the finish line?
I wouldn't know what to say to the man. Okay, so well, obviously, congratulations. I mean, it sounds like it all went pretty damn well.
Yeah.
Especially for an old bugger like yourself. You've come back and you're straight back into running, so that's really cool. What the old cliched question? What's next?
So I hadn't made it home yet. So while I was waiting on the flight to come home, I put my application in for Coast to Cozzy number 6 for this year.
Sure.
So, and I just wanted to make sure I had a good qualifier. So I waited till I'd finished this race just to make sure.
Is that one I beat you in last year? Is that the same one, or was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, that is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's right. The one that I beat you in the first year.
It's all right. We need a rematch.
We do. We're 1 for 1. So the next
we are 1 for 1.
So the next one would be the decider as to who's actually the better one.
Damn. Okay, maybe next year.
Applications are still open.
I know, shush. That's awesome, man. Well, I think your resume will be sufficient to let you get accepted into C2K. I would call that one a formality.
Yeah.
Good on you, mate. I'll hit stop and wish you all the best with what appears to be a very good recovery and build up to the next one.
Awesome. Thanks, bro.
All right, that's us. Enough chatting. Thank you very much for tuning in. Dirt Church Radio is presented by me, Matt Raymond.
Me, Ali Pottinger.
And me, Andrew McDowall.
And we're on all the podcast platforms, so like, follow, and give us a rating. It helps. Whānau, he really is talented, that Andrew McDowall. He can run good, he can talk good, and he can make Dirt Church Radio sound really good. Look, there we go. Dirt Church Radio Summer Series over for another year. As we said, we're going to be kicking back into it on January the 14th, and then we lurch straight into Tarawera and the big races, so stay tuned for some amazing content. Dirt Church Radio is presented by me, Matt Raymond, with my old mates Ali Pottinger and Andrew McDowall. We're on all the podcast platforms, so like, subscribe, give us a follow, give us a rating if you're opinionated. It really helps. Contact us at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com, or you can get us on the socials at #DirtChurchRadio. That's it for another amazing year, and yeah, stoked. I better go feed the fish. Cheers.